stuff. Ain't no half stepping.
Exactly right.
You know, with Marcus J. All right, Tony, I got you up first on this next one, and this one's a little bit. This was a little bit odd. This is about a state law that was passed to legalize shooting police. Yeah, I'm getting this one from the freethoughtproject.com. Finally, you got some legislation passed concerning, quote, public servants' unlawful entering another person's property. We see oftentimes situations where police come into the wrong home, shoot the family dog, shoot the family member. Indiana has taken action to recognize the unique character of a citizen's home, and this is a quote, they recognize the unique character of a citizen's home and to ensure that a citizen feels secure in his or her own home against unlawful intrusion by another individual or public servant. This amendment is not new for some. It's you know, obviously self-defense is common sense. It's natural right when laws are in place to protect police by removing one's ability to protect oneself simply because the aggressor has a badge and a uniform. It's a human rights violation. Indiana is leading the way of recognizing it and creating legislation to protect against it. In short, if you shoot a cop who comes up in your house, you may not have any negative consequences to face with regards to that. There's definitely going to be some dissension and some discussion that needs to be had, judging by the looks on the faces that I see in the room. My guess is in Indiana, the police department is probably not very happy about this change here. What say you?
This is going to be like the wild, wild west again. Who can draw their gun the fastest? That's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea because not only are you going to have the police who are probably going to be more aggressive now, you're going to have civilians shooting people who come in their house and they can say, oh, I thought it was the police. That's why I shot
It's
him.
funny that you say that because cops have already begun to have issues with the bill saying, quote, if I pull over a car and I walk up to it and the guy shoots me, he's going to say, well, he was trying to illegally enter my property, said Joseph Hubbard, who's the president of the Jeffersonville Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 100. Someone is going to get away with killing a cop because of this law.
Absolutely.
Is what he's saying. You're not fond of it. Nikki, what do you say?
I'm not fond of it. Now, a part of me feels like this is gonna create something bigger in Indiana. Like the next thing we're gonna hear about is some type of riot. Then they're going to enforce martial law, and the cops just going to be busting up houses, shooting up everybody, and that law is not going to even work at this point. Like, you know, it's almost like it's something else behind them creating this law. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to be good. And a lot of lives are going to be lost on both sides behind this. Not just the cops, but, you know, the civilians, you know, the people of Indiana as well.
Look out, Indiana.
Yeah,
that ain't the biggest damn setup I have ever heard.
I think so.
You gonna fall for that. You gonna start shooting because you thought it was the police. Your ass is going to jail. Your kids are going to foster homes. You done. Do not fall for it. It is the biggest setup. This is a reason for cops to shoot and abuse because somebody shot. This is a reason for the cops to go ahead and shoot because somebody shot at. It's the biggest setup I ever heard.
What do you think, AT?
And I agree with everybody. And my thing is, you will never have enough guns for the cops.
Nope.
Because if I'm Aaron Turner, you coming in, you know, and I say, oh, I can shoot you. Bam. What makes you think I'm going to even make it to the precinct without them tens of thousands of cops outside making sure? And you know, the cops, they have a brotherhood. They're not going, I mean, they can do anything out there.
The Royal Order of Flatfoots.
Yes. So okay, this cop here, you know, if I go ahead and shoot this cop, his partner, you know, boom, shoot me. Oh, he drew on me. I got him first.
Yep.
you'll never make it to the precinct.
Nah.
And you're, I mean, and the courts are not going to award you anything like you're going to walk free.
Right.
That's ridiculous. You might
If
as well.
you live.
If you live, you're not going to even make it to the precinct.
As great as our country is, said some, the country is not set up to be prosperous generally for civilians in the small middle class to low class person.
Right.
This isn't for upper class folks because the truth of the matter is the police ain't running up in
Never
$1 million
will.
homes.
Never will.
You know, it just doesn't work that way. You know, this happens to people who are living in middle class, poor neighborhoods.
Yeah, mostly poor.
And so, you know, I'm conflicted. I'm going to get Hakeem's comment in here, then I'll explain why. You know, he drops a name that many folks may not actually remember, but I remember when this went on very clearly in the late 80s in New York City. He talks about Larry Davis, how Larry Davis beat those charges a long time ago. He got off on self-defense when he shot the cops. They convicted him on weapons charges is what Hakeem's comment is.
Yeah.
And for those folks who may not remember, Larry Davis was a young brother. He was in his 20s or so. I believe it was 1986.
Right.
I just remember seeing him come out, in handcuffs with Obama and gold chains.
Right,
And
right,
for some
right.
reason, as a 12-year-old, I thought that was cool, which is scary in itself, actually, that I thought it was cool. But here's why I'm conflicted. Because I've always been one to view the dealings with the police to be a lot more fair than what they are now. You know, it's always, I'm the boss, listen to me, I don't care what you have to say, and you going to jail. But I didn't do nothing. Shut up, you going to jail. Like, it's always kind of been that kind of relationship that I've experienced, whether it be personally, which has been rare. I have had that experience personally, but I've had more positive experience personally than negative. But my observation of society has been more negative with regards, at least the stuff that we see. And so while I will never condone shooting anybody, I'm not going to condone shooting police because they run up in your house. However, I think there needs to be some sort of safeguard for this to happen because we've heard stories, police run up into the grandma's home looking for grandson, and grandma ends up dead.
Right.
And we heard the story. We did the story right here on the show. The little girl in Detroit or somewhere in Michigan where they were filming First 48, and she sleep on the couch, and the police shot, and the little girl died, and those police weren't even charged. They got the Eric Garner treatment.
Right.
They weren't even charged.
Right.
So, I think if we are to look at this, without conspiracy theory, which Nikki and I have already decided to announce publicly that we are, but if we pull that out for just a moment and we just look at it, this would be a safeguard to keep that from happening. Because what if you up in the crib? Think about this for a second. I'll just hypothetically ask this question, and whoever wants this, jump in. Let's say you up in the crib, and you hear a noise, and you sleep with it in the nightstand, and you just jump up, and you see a flashing light that don't belong there, and then you let you let a hot one off, and you happen to catch officer whomever in a soft spot that's not covered by, Kevlar. Should you go to jail? And you're not in Indiana now. You're in Virginia or my home state of New Jersey. Should you go to jail? Think about that. I mean, I'm asking, I'm asking.
I don't think so, because that seems like an accident, and, that can be proven. The situation I have with the Indiana deal, of course, just like what everybody said, it opens a whole big can of worms. And the thing about that is, like, it seems like, the whole thing that I mentioned before about the Black Lives Matter movement, the recent stuff with Trayvon, Mike Brown, Eric Gardner, it's a tense situation in this country, with the, especially young black men and police. It's always been there, but it's intensified now. And the thing about that, we're not going to solve the problem by just having open season on the police, just like the young man, did recently, shot the cops, and like I said,
which was a punk move, by the way.
Very punk move, because those two cops had nothing to do with it. And, you know, and I like to put point blank on record, all cops are not bad.
Not at all.
The majority are good. And I'm saying this as a black man. Yes, I have been profiled. And I've been profiled by black cops. But I'm not going to crucify the whole force.
You've been profiled by black civilians.
Exactly.
As I have.
Yes.
You've been profiled by white people. I tell a story all the time about how I was literally profiled right here outside the studio that I run.
Right.
Coming in to work, I was profiled right there in the courtyard.
I can
You
believe
know,
it.
and you know, and that's you know, that's crazy. Again,
Right.
I go back to black people. You know, when you have history and many examples of negative interactions between police and the community, it will inflame already hot feelings that you may have. But I caution you in brushing all bad, you know, cops with the same bad broad brush,
Right.
because every single time you do that, you're endorsing the times where they look at you, Aaron, Marcus J, Jay Wash, who was with us earlier. Every time a brother who fits our description does a crime and they start messing with us about it,
Right.
when we give a negative description of all police, we're endorsing that same behavior against us.
Right.
And so we have to be smart about that. And we need to make clear example of when there is impropriety and speak to the individual situations.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking about the stereotypes, and you know, a lot of people talk about, okay, you know, you have a group of young black men that, you know, might walk down the street pants sagging and all that, do you lock your door? Yeah, I'm gonna lock my door, because to me, you know, and I'm gonna put it out there as a black man, you know, they do look dangerous, but the same group, you know, that I just mentioned, if I see a bunch of white guys, you know, that look kind of, you know, I guess rowdy or whatever, I'm gonna lock my doors as well.
I look at it like this, and this is the realest thing I'm gonna say on the subject.
Yeah.
I lock my door when I see anybody who I don't know,
Exactly.
including a cop.
Is that same thing? Same thing. Same thing.
I don't know you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't know what's going on with you. You know, and sometimes the sanest, calmest person is the one that's gonna knock you over the head and steal your stuff. And I ain't trying to have it. Ain't no half stepping on Marcus J, live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. We are celebrating the new edition to Legacy Internet Radio. The Aaron Turner Show will be debuting with us on Legacy Internet Radio on Saturday, February 28th at 5 p.m. until 7, and every Saturday thereafter. You can hear that show on your TuneIn application. Any way that you're listening to us right now live, you can hear the Aaron Turner Show and every other show that we have here on Legacy Internet Radio. Exclusive to this show is the replays that we do of our show, Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J, on YouTube. So we want to thank those folks that are listening to the replays of the show right now. We appreciate you. Send us a note. Let us know that you were listening. If you have a comment on a previous show, feel free to comment right there on YouTube. That stuff comes directly to me. I reply to everybody, and we appreciate it. This one right here is a sports story. I normally do sports stuff at the beginning of the show, but I purposely saved it towards the end. It's not really a sports story, but it's sports-based, sport-themed. So, AT, I'm going to come to you on this one first. If you know me, if you've known me, you know that I am a long-suffering New York Knicks fan.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Long-suffering New York Knicks
Right.
fan. The New York Knicks won the last championship 13 months before I was born.
Wow.
I have never seen the Knicks win a title.
Was that the Bill Bradley Knicks?
It was the Bill Bradley.
Knicks?
It was the Bill Bradley,
Yeah.
Walt Frazier,
Yeah,
Dave DeBusschere. Those
okay,
Knicks.
those guys.
May of 1973 was the last time the Knicks won the title. And my mom and dad were a newlywed couple who lived in an apartment, ironically, directly across the street from the house they currently own that I grew up in Jersey
Okay.
City. And to this day, they point to the window that they were in, sticking their heads out the window, yelling into the streets, the Knicks won the title. I wasn't born yet. I wasn't even conceived yet.
Wow.
And I've seen my Yankees win 7 titles.
Mhm.
I've seen, my New York Football Giants win 4.
Mhm.
I'm a borderline hockey fan. I've seen the Rangers win a couple.
Mhm.
Never seen the Knicks win a title, man.
Mm.
And the downfall of the current regime began in 1999 when the current owner, James Dolan, purchased the team.
Mhm.
And the first big thing he did was trade Patrick Ewing.
Right.
I'm still sick about that. 15 years
Yeah,
later.
yeah. You're definitely a Knicks fan.
Absolutely never,
Yeah.
ever get over that. I will never get over that. For those Cowboys fans, Emmitt Smith in an Arizona Cardinals uniform.
Mhm.
Okay? For the Utah Jazz fan, Karl Malone playing for the Lakers.
Yeah, coming over there.
You know what I mean? For the Bulls fans, Michael Jordan playing for the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
That's Patrick Ewing playing for the Seattle Supersonics.
It got to be some type of support group for you.
No, yeah, I mean,
it has to
yeah.
be.
Oh, she has chocolate.
There's no thing. So anyway, here's the reason why I
My new
bring
best friend.
this all up. Yeah, we got Candy.
Yeah,
Candy's going around.
my new best friend.
Yeah,
Chocolate, the crackle.
The Candy lady is giving out candy. But here's the thing. I'm getting this one from the New York Post.
Okay, what we got?
This one is about a fan who sent an email to the owner. Who knows how the fan got the owner's email address? I don't think that's relevant to the story, but the fan somehow got the owner's email address. And he said a few things to the owner. In part, as a Knicks fan in excess of 60 years, I'm utterly embarrassed by your dealings with the Knicks. You have done a lot of utterly stupid business things with the franchise. And he ultimately begs, maybe a better description, Dolan to actually sell the team, James Dolan.
Right.
All in all, it fairly represents what most of us Knicks fans actually believe. There's no meanness to it. I mean, he says he did some stupid stuff, which is true. He did some stupid stuff. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of it because we don't have the audience for that. If we were doing a sports show, we get into that. But the reason why I bring this up is this is a fan that's emailing the owner. I'm unhappy with your product. The owner's response to, you are a sad person. Why would anybody write such a hateful letter? I am, and it's typos here. I am just guessing. The dot doesn't belong there. So he's a billionaire and he can't even write a letter. But I am just guessing. But I'll bet your life is a mess and you are a hateful mess. What you have done that anyone would consider positive or nice, I'm betting nothing. In fact, I'll bet you are a negative force in everyone who comes in contact with. This is an owner. Talk to a fan. You most likely have made your family miserable. Alcoholic, maybe. I just celebrated my 21-year anniversary of sobriety. You should try it. Maybe it will help you become a person that folks would like to have around. And meanwhile, start rooting for the Nets because the Knicks don't want you. Okay. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm gonna save my comments for last.
Right.
Even as a person in the room, if you're in sports or not, I still want your opinion. AT, you up first.
And that's like if I if I like Macys and go to Macys and shop or whatever, and the owner of Macys say and I made a I criticized some Macys, maybe I didn't like the sale or what have you, and so the owner tells me, well, say all them miserable things and bad things like what this guy did. So it's the same thing. So with me, I would feel bad as a consumer of Macys, and to me, I would not be a part of building Macys anymore. So I say all that to say this. Same with the Knicks. If I'm that guy, there's no way in the world I can support this team no more if you're going to talk to me that way. Because to me, it looks like you're just dealing with money. And I'm just a little speck on your billion-dollar, world. So I really couldn't support, the Knicks if I'm this guy.
Tony?
Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. And this may seem a little bit wrong. But you're not going to write me a mean and ugly letter and expect butterflies and rainbows in return. Didn't you say he told him like he feels like he's made like some stupid choices
Yes.
and then this and that?
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you're writing me a letter bashing me and what I've done, basically telling me that I suck at what I do, that my team sucks, and I should sell them because we suck. So, not necessarily saying that he had to use the wording that he used to respond, but I don't think, I mean, what did he expect him to say? What kind of response was he expecting? If you send someone something that negative, you can't expect that he's going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. I hope you continue to be a fan of blah, blah, blah." I just don't feel, I mean, I feel like, especially what I do in my regular job, when people send letters like that, my first response is, well, let me tell you something. But then, as a professional, you go back and you say what you need to say, a proper response in the right way. So I can still chop you down, but I do it nicely. So I don't think that he was wrong necessarily in the type of response. I just think that his words could have been chosen better.
What do you think, Nikki? You got the quizzical look on your face.
I understand how you feel, but I think he was totally wrong. I think once you get to a certain level, you have a brand to protect. I think at his level, he shouldn't even be responding to any of his emails. I know if I was on of a team, I wouldn't be responding to my emails. I'm gonna pay somebody to do that. I know I got an assistant or something because I know my mouth, I know my attitude, and I probably would have came back even harder than he came back if I had to write my own email back. And in this day of social media, nothing is private. Absolutely nothing is private. So knowing that, I would have calmed down. I probably, my assistant would probably know me enough to not even let me see that. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you still have a brand to protect. You can't go off on every idiot that comes past you when you're at that level. You just can't. You want to cuss them out now. I feel like, I'm somebody here in Richmond. But, I'm at the point now where I have to start trying to control my mouth as hard as that is. I'm a work in progress. Let me just say that. The Lord covering me.
I swear I knew you was gonna say. I was just waiting for it. You got the cloth of Jesus.
You got the blood.
Got the blood.
The blood
Covering me.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And he know I might slip up sometimes. But I'm not at his level. But all I'm saying is if I was, that he would have got a nice automatic response. My assistant would have done that. I wouldn't have done it because I know I probably would have said something. I feel like I would have came right back at him. That's your first instinct. That's what you want to do. But he was completely wrong because now the whole world sees who you really are, and that's not what you want to show them.
So here's what happened, y'all.
Go on, tell us what happened, y'all.
What happened was the Knicks don't play that well. Mm-hmm. And the owner doesn't work that well. The owner knows how to get a couple of dollars in. That's what he's doing. It is money. He's bringing in the money. Mm-hmm. Now, it just so happens that he's answering his own emails because he don't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's sitting in his office and he's trying to figure out that goddamn Rubik's Cube. His email comes over. Ooh. He's excited. Yeah. He checks his email. And the ego took over. He got mad.
Was the secretary off that day?
The secretary? What secretary?
She's probably gone.
Now, here's what happens now. I bet dollars to Donut, the secretary has an attitude just as bad as the boss.
Probably.
Now, he read that email. He don't have the game sense. Somebody else has got to work the game. He's got the dollars. He's known how to bring the dollars in. That's why they still playing like they playing. He's sitting there, like I said, playing the Rubik's Cube, doing crossword, what have you. An email comes in because he got free time, y'all, because he don't know how to get that team right. So he got free time. He answers the email. His ego gets hurt. Now he's bashing. He's bashing while he's looking in the mirror. Because all that he just discussed in that nasty email was him. This is why we can't get our team right. But he's not worried about that. He's all about the dollars, just like you said.
You're right.
So he's getting the dollars. You know what? You go ahead and like the next. I ain't worried about you because I'm making money anyway. You can say what you want to say, chump. Take your alcoholic behind on. And that's what he does.
But
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead, AT.
But see, you know that you know we talked about these owners with the money deal, and that's the same thing that happened last year with the Clippers owner, you know, with that whole fiasco. And the thing about it, at the end of the day, he sold the team for multi-millions, and this is what we got to realize. It's a money thing, you know. The players, they threw the jerseys on the court and all that. Okay, he laughed at that, and all we did was made him rich. But I mean, the Clippers was rising, of course. You know, it has been rising for like recent years. But when he figured that thing out, I'll sell it, and he sold it for multi-million, way more than what it's worth.
The biggest setup ever.
Yeah, you know, and it was like, we got him out. We got the racist owner out, but we took him to the bank. We took him to the bank. Multi-million.
Here's my deal, and y'all just indulge me for a minute because this is personal for me because I'm a Knicks fan, and if you're a sports fan. Any kind of sports fan, regardless of what your team is, regardless of what your sport is. If you like football and you like Cowboys, cool, I get it. You like the Lakers and basketball. If you're a Yankees fan, which I am, I get it. Fan is short for fanatic. You take this stuff real serious, probably more serious than you probably should, but the reality is you do. You just do. And so as a fan, I see that letter that the fan wrote, and I personally don't see nothing wrong with it because it ain't nothing that I've never really said.
Right.
Anyway, I probably wouldn't have said it quite how he said it, but the sentiment is understood. Now, for those folks who are not really into it, just bear with me for something because I want to point something out to make a point. When he took over the Knicks 15 years ago, they play 82 games unless they get shortened by a strike. First year he had them, they won 50 games. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Made playoffs. Next year, they won 48. Pretty good. Made playoffs. But starting in 2001, they went 30, 37, 39, 33, 23, 33, 23, 32, 29, 42, 36 in a strike shortened year. Then a couple of years ago, they came back 54. Last year, 37. And as of right now, through 51 games, 10. Now, and that's 15 years and 9 coaches. 9.
I thought it was more than that.
9 coaches. 9 coaches, including full-time and interim.
Right.
And so you got to understand the frustration that your customer has. And so maybe your customer came at you a little stronger than you would have liked. But for your response to be as mean-spirited and unprofessional as that is absolutely outrageous to me. Absolutely outrageous. I work in the customer service industry outside of legacy internet radio, so I know what the customer is right theory is all about, which is bullshit because they're not always right.
No, they're not.
But there was nothing that customer said that was in line with what that response was. And like you said, Aaron, this guy may want to consider, going somewhere else. But the truth of the matter is, like sports, sports like your family. You don't get to choose them. Once you got them, you kind of got them. You don't just go and root for the Nets now because they're in Brooklyn. The guy been a Knicks fan since 1952, 60 years. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to go find out. Is he supposed to, we don't want you, go root for the Nets? I mean, that's just, if I wasn't a Knicks fan, I probably wouldn't be as passionate. But I do feel strongly about this. Really.
Yeah.
That's just, that's
I'm not a Knicks fan, and I think that his response was horrible.
Outrageous.
It was horrible. And really, I feel like, and my opinion doesn't count, but I feel like he cannot do the job.
No, he's terrible.
He
I mean,
cannot do the
I
job.
won't get into the specifics again. We don't have the time for it, and this particular segment is not the place for it. But the short version is everything that the fan said in the letter is the truth.
Oh yeah, it was truth.
It was all truth, and you know, he said you made stupid decisions.
Yeah.
That word is probably the word that incensed James Dolan.
Mhm.
You know, but for him to say you've never done nothing good and you're an alcoholic and go root for another,
No,
that's just mean.
That's personal.
You know, it's
Yeah. I when I say, you know, he needs to protect his brand,
Yes.
it went back to my customer service, you know, skills. You know, I was a supervisor in the banking industry for over 15 years, and the credit card company I used to work for, I managed managers, and when you get up to that level, everybody mad.
Yeah.
Everybody's cussing.
Yeah.
Everybody using the N word.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I used to have to tell my associates, if you want to deal with the customer's current balance and last 5 transactions, you got to move to India, because that's where them folks at. But here, you brought the 4th, 5th person up.
Yeah.
You at the top.
Yeah.
And so in their mind, you are it. And you're going to be every name in the book.
To
You
get used to
cannot react.
Whoever they
Because
talk to, yeah,
you
you-
got a brand to protect at the end of the day. The same way Dolan, he has a brand to protect. So that's why I kept saying he has a brand
No,
to protect.
I 100% agree with you,
And-
because at the end of the day, Nikki, the truth is, and again, you know, I try to step out of this because I am close to it, but the truth is the team stinks, and they've
Yeah.
stunk pretty much for the entire tenure of his stewardship. And so for you to get sensitive and feel some kind of way because somebody you have to know that you suck. The whole point of him turning the keys over to Phil Jackson and staying out of stuff is because he realized
Right.
how poor his performance has been. So when somebody points you out, now you catching feelings.
And then I mean, Phil has a lot of cleanup. You know, West Phil is cleaning up, and
That's why they got 10 victories.
right, yeah, and one of the
I got the game on right now. They were winning by 10. Now they losing by 4.
Yeah,
They suck. They stink.
and
They
one of the
stink.
major things, you know, this guy, you know, has done, you know, these outrageous long contracts. I mean, with Stoudemire, and you lock people in for 6, 7, 8 years.
In a salary cap.
And
And you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. So this is what you're dealing with, you know, and it's going to take years to kind of get out of it.
I think this is an interesting story because, Nikki, you bring up a really good point, the way you try to translate it out of sports and into real life so that we can all understand it, because it's more than the owner of the Knicks just yelled at a customer. I mean, I think if we take ourselves out of it, somebody mentioned Macys earlier, I think in your example,
right.
you know, if, you know, the owner of Macys got an email from a customer and the customer said, you know what, I don't like the store and the store layout stinks, you know, and the president of Macys responded, well, you stink too, and don't come back to the store. If you want to shop, then go shop at Sears. Like, do you see them ever responding like that?
Right, yeah.
He's gonna be gone. I bet you.
Well, he's not going anywhere.
He's gonna be gone. I bet you in a year.
No, he's
Y'all,
not going
you
anywhere.
didn't bet me when we talked about the dude from baseball.
This is one that I feel pretty
And I won.
confident in betting you, and we can talk about that offline another
Okay.
time. But
Okay.
the unfortunate reality
Okay.
is,
He don't want that word.
this is one that she will lose. But James Dolan ain't going nowhere. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J. All right, we're gonna take our final break of the night. We come back out of rants and our closings from SY, Miss Tony, Miss Nikki, and the host of the Aaron Turner Show, starting
Aaron
February
Turner.
28th, Saturday, 5 to 7.
Yes.
Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J. Y'all back in a few minutes.